This is Creative to Creative. Together, we deep dive into the creative and production processes of leading creatives, finding out what makes them tick, how they do what they do, and the challenges along the way. This is Creative to Creative, powered by Motion by Design. This episode, we talk to Sam Morton, combining his passions for art and dirt bike riding to create SKDA. 13 years later, his Adelaide-based company has gone from after-hours hobby to a global leader in their space. Sam is involved full-time in the company whilst juggling a new family and headspace alongside. Welcome, Sam from SKDA. Starting out, I think, it could be potentially difficult to find that niche, people who like what you do and actually willing to pay the price that it's worth and that type of thing.
Yeah, I hear you 100%. Like, I completely validate and understand your perspective, but I just think that, speaking to only my own experiences, I do think that the reason that I managed to reach the level of success I have within the field that I'm in was because of that 100% devotion to a single cause.
And the quality of products. I mean, you pointed out just before how my sticker here is probably 1 or 2 mil out of square, right? I mean,
that's because of
that's years of experience.
It's the same thing though. Like it's devotion to becoming the best. Therefore, not accepting anything less than 100% on everything.
Totally.
And that comes out, like, I think I get asked all the time now, what's your competitive advantage? Because we're some stupid company from frickin' Adelaide when no one knows who that is that managed to crush this game we're in globally, right? And people are like, how did you do that? Like, you're not doing anything different to anyone else. And I think, like, I agree. We have a good quality product and we have a good service and we blah, 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 blah. We have nice designs, but that's all bullshit. Like, everyone uses the same quality product. Everyone has some level of customer service. Everyone can create cool shit. So that's actually all crap. So what is actually our competitive advantage? I think it's the result of my level of obsession and determination or devotion, whatever you want to call it, that leads to little things like me picking up on your 1 mil off sticker and me not accepting something going out that's not 100%. And, I will work tirelessly to get something done, no questions asked, because that's the level that I expect from myself. And that then flows into every other aspect of the business, right? So like a design that goes out, if it's one little thing is 1 mil off, it cannot be even seen by a human. Don't you dare let that out the door, right? So, and the same with product quality and deliverables and, everything we do has got that level of like obsession and, whatever weirdness to it. That means that our product is at a different level. What we do, everything we do is at a different level to everybody else because of exactly that point.
So how is that, mentality of perfection, spread across the rest of your team? How do you share that, obviously, vision in a way where your team members are 100% on board and probably even capable? I mean, at the end of the day, some people won't be capable of spotting, that 1 mil out type situation, but have you looked at ways of standardizing, or are you employing for that? Is that your sort of...
The reality is, in the world we're living in, you can get around a lot of things that can be manipulated by a human perspective by eliminating the human element, right? So create systems that do things via computer, via maths, via macros, via automations that aren't human. That then eliminates some of that. So obviously original product design is difficult. So I've got some really, really good product designers. And whenever we do something, it every single time gets eyed through me. And again, because of our business model, that's not that frequently. We do a new design, once or twice a week, something will come through and I'll send it through to me first and I will destroy it and pick it apart and tell them why they're shit. And they'll fix stuff and then we'll get it. And again, these designers now are very well-skilled people and they are quickly able to pick up on what the things I'm picking on and adjust it accordingly. So now it's pretty good most of the time. But then past that point, past product development, everything else is just completely systemized and locked. Like, you can't get something wrong. We've eliminated the ability for that. So now it means that I can hire anyone off the street who has a good attitude and a good work ethic, and I can make them useful in any part of my business, which again makes it more scalable because we've got systems in place. You can't get stuff wrong. It's not physically possible.
Yeah, interesting. Very interesting. I think a lot of agency owners would love to be in that position, to be honest, but I think they'd probably still feel the same as what you are. Like, I think, at the end of the day, everything that happens in our team it's up to a scratch. It's up to a standard, right, where you need to guarantee that standard because that's the standard that, you're only as good as your last job or your last project or your last design. So you need to continually, I guess, improve on what you guys are doing, and if you're a part of that, it's good to still be a part of that, I guess.
I think, again, it's just systems for us though, man. Like there's just so much. It's unreal. I'm so proud of, in fact, like the level of automation and stuff we've got. It's unreal.
So are there any sort of automation tools you'd suggest that could work in other sort of creative industries?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. I think that honestly, a skill set that I now have due to nothing other than experience, if I wasn't doing what I'm doing anymore, is I would go and hit up industries like ours, right? Like creative or, very digital style companies and walk in there and consult and be like, hey, you don't need to do this. And you know that we can do this way, and just help them automate things. Because again, the level that we've got it to, I feel, is unreal.
So what sort of automation systems are you most proud of?
So I just feel at the end of the day, if there's any task that you repeat and the entirety of that task happens within a computing system, you don't need to be doing it. You can automate it. And it's just the levels that leads to is unreal, because you start with some very obvious face value stuff, right? Like, I don't know, replying to an email or sending someone a notification or whatever. Yeah. But then once you do that, you can't help but realize the next thing that's available as a result, which then sometimes means you actually undo an automation and create something that's even more in depth. But like, it's literally infinite. And I think that although what we do, because it's design based, is has some specific automations that aren't applicable everywhere. At the end of the day, we're still e-commerce. We still pack, ship, produce, update customers, blah, 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 which is applicable to ridiculous amounts of companies around the place. And the stuff you can do is just unreal. There's so much you can do. It's great, which makes it not only, and the benefits that are, one, it's time efficient. Two, it's accurate, way more accurate than a human will ever be, which has so many upsides. And it's cost effective too. Like it's, so you can do things faster, you can do them cheaper, you can do them better, you can do them without risk. Like it's just unreal. We've done, so I started in the automation world. Like I started thinking about that and developing things about 18 months ago, I reckon. It might have been the year before. I think it was about that. It was about 18 months ago or 2 years ago. And I've now mathed out that we've eliminated about $320,000 a year worth of wages with automations alone.
Wow.
And for the scale of the company that we're in, we're a huge company, right? That's massive, huge.
Yeah.
And that's a scalable number. Like the more work we do, the more that number goes up. And I have a guy now that literally spends 20 hours a week on it.
Yeah.
Every week. That's all he does. Yep. Because all he does is work on the next automation, find the new thing and talk to the team and And the level we can get it to is just unbelievable.
So are you using any software that you'd recommend other people look at for?
Yep. So there's two different main areas of automation that we focus on. There is automation within the design software we use, and then there's automation between all of our other systems. So, our tech stack is all attached. The most user-friendly version is there's a software called Zapier. Which is awesome.
If then that type situation.
And then, correct. If then that, exactly right. And then there's another level of that now called Make, which is a little bit more in depth, but it's a bit cheaper, etc. Zapier is a good one to start with. And basically anyone with any sort of digital company, I seriously recommend to you that you jump onto that software, look at your tech stack, work out what within your tech stack you can connect to that, which is most things, you'll be surprised. And then think about what do you, if then what, etc. What do you do after this happens? If a customer, when an order gets emailed to a customer, what is your next step? You notify the customer. Okay, cool. Then what's the next step? You then move the order forward to the next process, and then we put it into the packaging run, and then we get the label printed out, etc. Like, you do not need to do a single step of that. You can automate the entire thing. And it's sort of, I understand it seems sort of quite straightforward and obvious, but the amount of difference it can make to a company is unbelievable. And I'm a big believer in that. And I try and help people, pay attention and realize it.
Yeah. We use MailChimp to automate our customer journeys, but I'm assuming it's a little bit more different for you. But we use Zapier for automating social media leads to come through to our emails and obviously go into MailChimp and stuff. But that's the only thing we use it for. We haven't really reached beyond that, mate.
Yeah, it's unreal, man. It's changed your life. There's just so much you can do. We run a lot of
Can you automate our animation projects for us?
Yeah, I don't know. AI might soon. I think that, there's just so much to be paid attention to in that space, and it can gain so much. Like the investment of time that you put into that thing will 10x itself without even trying. It's worth looking at. because there's just so much that you do that you realize you don't actually need to be doing.
We've used AI once on a project, and it was a good result. So basically, it's this tool where you can upload video, and then if you paint over a few frames, like in any style you want, it could be outline, it could be we did watercolor, and then it fills in the rest of the frames for you. So it did basically converted a video into watercolor, which was amazing. But something happened recently online where they were sharing this new AI software and how it animates a walk cycle. And there's this video online as their advert. They upload this weird stick figure thing that looks horrendous into this tool, and then it walks along so jankly, and it's made it sound like a really heroic animation. Like, look, you don't need to animate anymore type thing. And we're all just looking at it going, oh my God, a client would not be happy with that.
Yeah, I just feel like though it's a peer into the opportunities that are coming to us.
Absolutely.
Like, that's the thing that I find really interesting about it.
For us, I think it'll open up the opportunity to be more creative in certain areas, because we, obviously make things a lot easier in others. So maybe less keyframes, less, frame by frame type of stuff, and we can spend some time on the real meaningful stuff. So.
Yeah, exactly.